time to roll up our sleeves and dive into this mountain of info about turning websites into, well, money-making machines.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, there are so many options. It's amazing. From the usual suspects like ads, but then there's, wait a minute, website flipping.
Oh, yeah.
Color me intrigued.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the more interesting ones.
Definitely. We've got our work cut out for us today, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Lot to unpack here, but don't worry. The main thing to remember is there's no one magic bullet, right?
Mm.
It's more about, well, figuring out who your audience is and then picking the right combo of approaches, something that fits both them and your site's vibe.
Gotcha. So no get-rich-quick schemes, more like a carefully crafted recipe. Yeah. Okay, I'm on board with that. But I got to admit, that whole website flipping thing, that really piqued my interest. It sounds kind of like, I don't know, digital real estate, like buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's the general idea, but we'll definitely dig into the specifics of that later. For now, let's lay the groundwork, starting with some of the more, well, common strategies. I'm guessing you're at least a little familiar with advertising and affiliate marketing?
Yeah, for sure. I've dipped my toes in those waters, but I'm always looking for ways to uh, optimize,
Yeah.
right? Like, for example, with display ads, I've heard of AdSense, Mediavine, Ezoic. But how do you know when it's time to make the switch from one to another?
Great question. That's because, well, each platform has different requirements, things like how much traffic you're getting and how they structure their payouts. AdSense, that's usually considered the easiest one to get started with, especially if you're just starting out. But Mediavine and Ezoic, well, they often offer better payouts once your site's really pulling in those visitors.
Makes sense. So start simple, then scale up as you grow.
Exactly. It's a classic trade-off between, how easy it is to use versus how much you can potentially earn.
Right. Gotta love those trade-offs. Okay, so we got the ad networks, but what about going directly to brands for those ads? It seems like that could be, I don't know, more profitable, but probably also a lot more work.
You hit the nail on the head. Direct sales definitely mean, well, you're doing more of the heavy lifting. Reaching out, negotiating rates, managing where the ads actually go, it's all on you.
Wow. Sounds like a full-time job in itself.
It can be, but if you've got a strong niche audience and can offer like really targeted ad placements, you can potentially command higher rates than you would with those ad networks. Plus, you have a lot more control over, what kind of ads actually end up on your site.
Control. Yeah, that's appealing for sure. Okay, so there's a whole spectrum of control versus convenience with advertising, that's for sure. Now let's talk about affiliate marketing. I dabble in it, but finding the right programs and integrating them authentically, that's always been a bit of a struggle for me.
Yeah, that authenticity, that's the key, right? Those recommendations got to feel like a natural part of your content, got to provide real value to your audience. Think about it like, would you trust a fitness blogger who's suddenly pushing fast food?
Definitely not.
Right, exactly.
So how do you strike that balance between like actually promoting products and still keeping that keeping true to your brand,
It really boils down to choosing things that fit your niche, right?
Mhm.
Things that you would actually recommend to, like a friend. Don't face those big commissions if they don't make sense. Focus on building trust, credibility, by promoting things that you actually believe in, stuff you use yourself.
So if I'm all about tech, stick to software, gadgets, all that, don't jump on a gardening tool affiliate program just because they're offering a higher cut.
You got it. Exactly. Think about what your audience is actually interested in, right? What would be genuinely helpful to them?
Okay, so no misleading my loyal tech fans into buying weed whackers. Haha.
Yeah.
Got it. Speaking of building that loyal audience, one of the things that really jumped out at me in the research was this idea of like membership sites and online courses. I mean, recurring revenue. Now that gets my entrepreneurial wheels turning.
Yeah, recurring revenue. That's like the holy grail for so many online businesses. And membership sites, that's a great way to achieve that. The key is consistent value, right? Give them something they're happy to pay for month after month.
Right, it's like those subscription boxes, but instead of biddies, it's knowledge or access or community.
Exactly, you nailed it. And there's so many creative ways to use that model. I mean, a fitness person could offer workout videos and like meal plans, right? A business coach, boom, online workshops, private forums, stuff like that.
Wow, starting to see so many possibilities. But okay, changing gears for a second. One of the sources mentioned sponsored content. How do you approach that without, compromising your authenticity, without losing that trust we were just talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a valid concern for sure. Transparency is super important there. Your audience, they got to know if you're getting paid to promote something. And it's not enough to just like bury a little disclaimer at the bottom of a post. You got to be upfront about those partnerships.
Right. So it's not about hiding it. It's about being honest about it. Like, I'm partnering with this company because I really love their product and think you will too.
You got it. It's about finding brands that actually fit with, with your values, brands you actually believe in. And that transparency, honestly, it can strengthen your credibility, not weaken it.
Makes sense. Transparency builds trust. Okay, I'm seeing the pattern here. All right, so we've covered some familiar territory, ads, affiliates, all that. But this deep dive also mentions lead generation. Now, that one honestly sounds a bit mysterious. What exactly is that?
So, lead generation, that's especially powerful for websites that have a really specific audience. Think like a website all about helping people find the perfect mortgage, right? The site, it's naturally going to draw in folks who are actually looking to buy a house. Those are valuable leads.
I see, you're not casting a wide net. You're attracting a specific type of person.
Exactly. You get it. And that's where the money-making opportunity comes in. You collect contact info from those visitors, of course, with their permission, and then connect them with like mortgage brokers, lenders, anyone looking for those qualified leads. Everybody wins.
That's really cool. Using your niche to your advantage. Are there other industries where this whole lead generation thing is common?
Oh, absolutely. Real estate, finance, education, anything where businesses are always on the hunt for those qualified leads. And there are even platforms, like HubSpot and Salesforce that help manage all those leads.
So it's all about making those strategic connections. Interesting. But now let's circle back to that website flipping thing that caught my attention earlier. Is it really as simple as it sounds? Buying and selling websites like you would a house or something?
Haha, yeah, it might sound a bit sci-fi, but it's definitely a real thing. It's basically, well, you buy or build a website, grow its traffic, its revenue, and then sell it off for a profit. And there are even platforms like Flippo where you can browse websites for sale, just like real estate listings.
Hold on, you mean I could just scroll through a website marketplace and just BUY a site that's already making money? That's wild. It's like digital house flipping. But instead of hammers and nails, it's keywords and, I don't know, content strategy.
Uh-huh. That's a great way to put it. And the potential profits, they can be pretty substantial, especially for websites that already have, that solid traffic and those revenue streams in place.
Okay, that's officially going on my list of things to investigate. Wow. But regardless of which strategy you're using, one thing's for sure, you got to get people to your site. Organic traffic, all that SEO stuff. What's the point of a website if nobody can find it, right?
Absolutely. SEO, it's the foundation. You got to make sure your website pops up in those search results. Otherwise, nobody's going to find your content, your products, all that good stuff.
And SEO, that's a constant process, right? It's not a one and done kind of thing.
Nope, you're right about that. Those search engine algorithms, they're always changing, so you got to stay up to date, adapt your strategy. But it's worth it because organic traffic, that's gold. It's targeted, it's sustainable, it can really help your website grow.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Ads, affiliate marketing, memberships, sponsored content, lead generation, and even website flipping. It's amazing how many options there are for turning your website into a moneymaker.
It is. But don't forget the key, right? It's all about choosing the right strategies for your website, for your audience, for what you're trying to achieve. What works for one site might be a total flop for another. It's all about finding that perfect fit.
Okay, that's a great point to pause on, I think. It's not about blindly applying everything. It's about understanding your unique situation, finding the best path. But before we move on, I'm curious, what are some common mistakes that people make when they're trying to, turn their website into a money-making machine?
Ooh, good question. Definitely something we should dig into. I mean, we all make mistakes, right? But learning from others, that can save us a lot of headaches down the road.
Exactly. So what are some of the biggest pitfalls to watch out for?
One of the biggest ones I see is trying to do too much too soon. It's like juggling a dozen balls at once. Something's got to give, right?
Oh, yeah, the classic overwhelm. I've definitely been there.
It happens. Easy to get excited about all the possibilities and want to, jump in head first with everything at once. But usually that just means you spread yourself too thin and nothing gets done right. You're much better off focusing on one or two strategies at a time. Master those, get them working, and then gradually add more, as your site grows, as your audience grows.
Okay, so start small, Focus on what's working, then scale up gradually makes sense. What about the other side of that, though? Are there any strategies that people often, I don't know, overlook? Ones that fly under the radar?
There's one that comes to mind, especially for, well, for sites that offer a lot of value, but maybe aren't a perfect fit for traditional ads or affiliate marketing donations and crowdfunding.
You mean like just asking people to support the site directly if they find it valuable? I can see that working for like a nonprofit or an independent news site, but what about other types of websites?
You'd be surprised how many people are willing to support creators and websites they love, especially if, if you're offering free content that's actually solving a problem for them, giving them entertainment, making their day a little brighter. Think about those buy me a coffee buttons you see popping up everywhere. It's a low pressure way for people to show their appreciation. Throw a few bucks in the hat.
That makes sense. It's like tipping a street musician, right?
Yeah.
If you enjoy the show, you're happy to chip in.
Exactly. And for creators who want to offer, something extra for those super dedicated fans, there's platforms like Patreon, right? You can have different tiers with different levels of access and rewards, everything from behind the scenes stuff to like exclusive forums.
Right? Patreon, that's where some creators have built entire careers, right?
Yeah.
By offering that exclusive content, building that close community.
Exactly. It really shows you how powerful that connection can be and how willing people are to support creators they believe in.
So we've got donations and crowdfunding as an option that maybe doesn't get enough attention. But let's jump back to SEO for a minute, because that one comes up all the time. Everyone says it's important, but honestly, it feels a bit intimidating. Like it's this constantly changing puzzle.
Yeah, I get it. SEO can definitely feel like you're chasing a moving target. Those search engine algorithms are always changing, makes it tough to keep up. But here's the thing, you don't need to be an SEO wizard to make it work for you. Even just understanding the basics, the core principles can make a huge difference.
So what are those core principles?
Right.
Like for someone who's, well, let's say SEO challenge, like me?
Okay, so at its heart, SEO is about making your website attractive to both those search engines and the actual human beings visiting it. Search engines, they want to deliver good results.
Yeah.
Relevant, high-quality stuff for their users. So your goal is to create content that fits that bill. Think about what people are actually searching for and create content that gives them the answers, the insights, the solutions they're looking for.
So it's not just about cramming in keywords. It's about actually being valuable to the reader.
Exactly. Think about it. When you search for something online, do you just click on the first result that's full of keywords? Or do you look for a website that seems trustworthy, informative, easy to use?
Definitely the second one, right?
Yeah.
I want a website that gives me a good experience.
That's exactly what search engines are trying to do too. So focus on creating good content that's relevant to your audience, optimize your site for those users, and get backlinks from other reputable sites. Those are the building blocks of a solid SEO strategy.
Okay, that makes SEO seem a little less scary. It's about giving people what they want, making your site easy to use, all that good stuff.
You got it. And remember, SEO, it's a long game. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time and consistent effort, but trust me, it pays off. Think of it like planting a garden. You got to prep the soil, plant the seeds, water them regularly, and be patient. Eventually, you'll have a beautiful, thriving garden that'll keep giving back for years to come.
I love that analogy. It's a much better way to think about it. Less about quick wins, more about sustainable growth. But speaking of things that take time, one of the sources mentioned all the legal stuff that comes with monetizing a website. And honestly, that sounds like a bit of a headache. Is that really something I need to worry about if I'm just a small-time blogger?
It's easy to overlook those legal details when you're excited about building your website and making money, right? But ignoring those things can come back to bite you later.
So it's better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. And honestly, it's not as complicated as you might think. Start with the basics. Privacy laws, consumer protection laws, copyright, advertising regulations. Make sure you have a clear privacy policy, easy to find, that explains how you're handling your visitors' data. And if you're using affiliate links or sponsored content, be transparent about it. Disclose those partnerships, any potential conflicts of interest.
Okay, so transparency and disclosure are key. Got it. Anything else that's really important from a legal standpoint?
One thing that often gets missed is accessibility. Make sure your site is accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities. Follow those accessibility guidelines. It's not just about being legally compliant. It's about making sure everyone can enjoy your content.
Right, accessibility, good point. It's about being inclusive, making sure everyone feels welcome.
Exactly. And remember, the legal landscape is constantly changing, so it's important to To stay informed, adapt your practices. Don't be afraid to reach out to a legal professional if you have questions, concerns. It's always better to err on the side of caution.
Solid advice. So we've talked about avoiding overwhelm, focusing on SEO, being mindful of the legal stuff. What other pitfalls should website owners be aware of?
One of the biggest ones I see is, well, not really understanding their audience.
You've mentioned that a few times now. Know your audience, and I'm starting to really understand why it's so important.
It's the foundation, seriously. If you don't know who you're talking to, what they need, what their pain points are, what makes them tick, well, you're basically just shooting in the dark with all your monetization efforts.
So how do you actually get ET to know your audience? Beyond just the basic demographics, I mean, how do you really get inside their heads?
Data's a good place to start. Analyze those website analytics, see who's already visiting your site, look at the demographics, their interests, their behavior, what pages are they visiting, what are they searching for, where are they coming from, what are they clicking on.
So use the data to paint a picture of, like, your typical visitor.
Exactly. But data's only part of the story. Don't be afraid to talk to your audience directly. Do surveys, polls, even just chat with them on social media. Ask them what they like about your site, what they want to see more of, what challenges they're facing.
It's amazing what you can learn just by asking, right?
I know, right? And once you really understand your audience, you can tailor your monetization strategies to their specific needs and interests. If you know they love a particular type of product, boom, focus on affiliate marketing for that niche. If they're hungry for knowledge, maybe an online course or a membership site is the way to go.
It's all about connecting the dots, right? Between what your audience wants and how you can provide it in a way that benefits both of you.
You got it. Creating a win-win where they get valuable content, products, services, and you generate revenue from your site. But there's one more layer to understanding your audience that I think is often overlooked.
Oh, I'm all ears. What's the missing piece?
Empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. Really try to see the world from their perspective. What are they hoping for? What are their dreams, their fears? What keeps them up at night? What makes them smile?
So it's not just about the data, it's about that human connection, right?
Exactly. When you approach your website, your monetization strategies, all of it, with empathy, you can create something really meaningful, something that makes a difference. And that's what sets the truly successful websites apart.
I love that. It's not just about selling something, it's about creating something that serves your audience, something that makes their lives better in some way.
And now you're getting it. That kind of thinking, that's what leads to long-term success in everything, really. But even with the best intentions, even with a deep understanding of your audience, there's another crucial element that can make or break your efforts.
Oh, okay, I'm hooked. What's the make or break element?
Content. Content is king. It always has been. It always will be.
Right, content, of course. You can have the best looking website in the world, perfect monetization strategies, the whole 9 yards. But if your content is boring, irrelevant, or just plain bad, nobody's going to stick around.
You're absolutely right. It's your content that draws people in, that keeps them coming back, that turns them into loyal fans, customers, clients, all that.
Okay, so content is king, but what makes content, truly stand out? There's so much out there. How do you cut through the noise?
There's no magic formula, but generally speaking, good content, it's valuable, it's engaging, it's original, it's something people want to share, and it's optimized for those search engines, right? It provides useful info, solves a problem, entertains your audience, all that good stuff. It's well-written, visually appealing, and keeps people hooked.
So it's not about churning out as much as possible. It's about quality over quantity.
You got it. It's about creating something you're proud of, something you'd share with your friends and family. And don't be afraid to repurpose your content.
Repurpose, what do you mean?
So say you write an amazing blog post that gets a ton of engagement, right? You could turn that into a series of social media posts, an infographic, a short video, even an email newsletter. It's all about finding creative ways to repackage that content so it reaches more people and has a longer shelf life.
That's brilliant, like getting multiple outfits out of one piece of fabric. Ha ha ha.
Exactly. And when you repurpose strategically, you can save yourself a ton of time and effort and still keep your audience happy with fresh, engaging content.
Okay, so we've got understanding your audience, creating awesome content, and even repurposing that content for maximum impact. What other tips and tricks do you have up your sleeve?
One thing that often gets overlooked is the importance of building relationships.
Relationships. I thought we were talking about websites.
We are, but websites are made by people, for people, right? And those connections, those relationships with your audience, your peers, other people in your industry, those can make all the difference.
So it's not just about building a website in isolation. It's about connecting with others, building a community around those shared interests, those passions.
Exactly. And those relationships, they can open so many doors,
Yeah.
collaborations, partnerships, mentorship, support. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, but how do you actually build those relationships, especially online, where everything can feel so, I don't know, anonymous?
Start by engaging with your audience, on social media, respond to comments on your blog, participate in forums and online communities, all that. Be present, be responsive, and be genuinely interested in connecting with people.
So be a human, not a robot. Got it.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out to other website owners, bloggers, people in your niche, compliment their work, share their content, see if there are opportunities to collaborate. Maybe you could guest post on each other's blogs, co-host a webinar, even collaborate on a product or
I
service.
love that collaborative spirit. It's
Mm.
about lifting each other up, creating a win-win for everyone.
Exactly. And don't forget about in-person events, conferences, workshops, all that. Those are great opportunities to connect with people face to face, build those relationships, and exchange ideas.
There's definitely something special about those in-person interactions. It's easier to, I don't know, to really connect with someone when you're in the same room.
It really is. And those connections can lead to, to lasting relationships that can really benefit your website, your career, your life, everything.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. From understanding your audience and creating amazing content to navigating the legal stuff and building those all-important relationships, I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for building a successful website.
That's great to hear. But remember, this is just the beginning. The online world is always changing, so stay curious, keep learning, and never be afraid to experiment.
I'm definitely this part of our deep dive. Is there anything else we should cover? Any other pearls of wisdom you want to share?
As we've been talking about all these different strategies, all these nuances, one overarching theme keeps coming up for me.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. What's the overarching theme?
It's the importance of patience.
Patience. That's not exactly a sexy topic in the world of online business, is it?
Uh-huh. I know, right? It's easy to get caught up in all the hype, all those overnight success stories. But the truth is, building a successful website takes time, it takes effort. There are no shortcuts.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And just like running a marathon, you got to pace yourself, stay hydrated, and keep pushing forward even when you hit those walls.
So don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Exactly. It's about setting realistic expectations, celebrating those small wins along the way, and enjoying the journey.
I can definitely get on board with that. But what about those times when, when you feel like you're spinning your wheels or hitting a wall? How do you stay motivated and keep going?
That's where passion comes in. If you're truly passionate about what you're doing, that passion will carry you through those tough times. Think about why you started your website in the first place. What impact do you want to make? What difference do you want to make in your own life?
Ah, the power of purpose. Connecting to something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. When you're driven by purpose, those setbacks, those challenges, they become opportunities for growth, not reasons to give up.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But let's be real, even with passion and purpose, there's no guarantee of success.
Yeah, of course not. There are no guarantees in life, especially online. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I'd argue that the journey itself is the reward.
So it's about the lessons learned, the experiences gained along the way.
Exactly. Even if you don't achieve, that exact level of success you had in mind, the skills you pick up, the connections you make, the lessons you learn, those are priceless.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture. It's not just about the money, it's about creating something meaningful, connecting with people, making a difference in the world.
You got it. And that's what I would encourage every website owner out there to remember. Focus on the things that truly matter, and the rest will fall into place.
That's a great message. But shifting gears for a second, one of the sources talked about the potential for ethical dilemmas when it comes to monetizing a website.
Yeah.
That honestly made me feel a little uneasy.
Yeah, I get it. It's definitely something to be mindful of. Easy to get caught up in the pursuit of profit and lose sight of what's right and wrong.
Exactly. So how do you navigate that? How do you stay true to your values and still run a successful website?
It comes down to transparency, authenticity, and integrity. Be upfront with your audience about how you're making money. Don't try to trick them into clicking on ads or buying things they don't need. And always put their needs ahead of, ahead of your own desire for profit.
So it's about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Providing value, being transparent, and making money in a way that, that feels good.
Exactly. Build a business you're proud of, a business that reflects your values and makes a positive impact.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. But even with good intentions, it's easy to get caught up in the competition. How do you stay true to yourself and avoid comparing yourself to everyone else out there?
Comparison is the thief of joy. It's so easy to get caught up in, comparing your website, your traffic, your earnings, your social media following to everyone else's, especially on social media.
Ugh, social media, the comparison trap.
It can be, for sure. But remember, everyone's on their own journey. What works for one person might not work for another. And what looks like success from the outside might be a completely different story behind the scenes.
So stay focused on your own lane. Run your own race.
Exactly. Celebrate your wins, learn from your mistakes, and don't let all that noise distract you from what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, I'm ready to mute the noise and focus on my own journey. But one thing that's become clear throughout this whole deep dive is that building a successful website, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Hmm.
How do you stay motivated, keep moving forward when things get tough?
Honestly, passion. If you really love what you're doing, that passion will fuel you even when you hit those inevitable bumps in the road. Think about why you started your website in the first place. What kind of impact do you want to have? What difference do you want to make in your own life?
It's about connecting to that deeper purpose, right? Something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. When you're driven by purpose, those setbacks, those challenges, they become opportunities to learn and grow, not reasons to quit.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But let's be realistic. Even with passion and purpose, there's no guarantee of success, is there?
Nope, no guarantees in life, especially online. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't give it your all. In fact, I'd argue that the journey itself is the reward.
So it's not about the destination, it's about what you learn and experience along the way.
Exactly. Even if you don't achieve, that exact level of success you had in mind, the skills you develop, the connections you make, the lessons you learn, those are invaluable.
I'm really starting to see the bigger picture now. It's not just about chasing the money. It's about creating something meaningful, connecting with people, making a positive impact.
That's it, and that's what I want every website owner out there to remember. Focus on the things that truly matter, and everything else will fall into place.
That's a powerful message. But let's switch gears for a second. One of the sources mentioned something that caught my attention but also made me feel a bit uneasy. The idea of finding your unique voice.
Ah, yes, the elusive voice. Everyone talks about it, but it can be hard to pin down.
Exactly. What does it even mean?
Your voice, it's like a fingerprint. It's unique to you. It's a combination of your personality, your experiences, your values, your passions, your quirks, your whole perspective, all rolled into one.
So it's not something you could just, I don't know, force or manufacture. It's something that comes naturally.
Exactly. Your voice is already there, inside you. It's just waiting to be discovered and expressed.
Yeah.
And the best part is, the more you embrace your unique voice, the more you'll attract the right people, the people who truly resonate with you.
So it's not about trying to be someone else or copying what everyone else is doing. It's about being authentically you.
Exactly. That authenticity, that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes your website unique and special.
Okay, now I'm seeing how all these pieces fit together. You need that solid SEO strategy to get your site in front of the right people. You need to understand your audience so you can create content that speaks to them. You need those monetization strategies that align with your goals and their needs. You need to build relationships, navigate the legal stuff, stay true to your values. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to finding your voice, expressing it in a way that connects with others.
You nailed it. And when you find that sweet spot where your passion, your purpose, and your unique voice all come together, that's when the magic really happens.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I've gone from feeling completely overwhelmed to having a much clearer path forward.
That's great to hear. And remember, we're just scratching the surface here. The world of website monetization is vast and constantly evolving, but with the right mindset, the right strategies, and a whole lot of heart, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
I'm feeling super inspired and ready to take things to the next level.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, is there anything else we should cover? Any other bits of wisdom you want to share?
As we've been exploring all these different aspects of website monetization, from the strategic stuff to the tactical stuff to, even the philosophical stuff, one fundamental truth keeps coming back to me.
Oh, I'm listening. What's the fundamental truth?
It's this. Building a successful website, it's not about the money.
Wait, what? didn't we just spend, like, the last hour talking about how to monetize a website?
We did, but hear me out. If your main goal is just to make money, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get discouraged, and ultimately, you're not going to be fulfilled.
So chasing the dollar signs won't lead to happiness. Who knew?
Right. Focus on creating something truly valuable, something you're passionate about, something that makes a difference.
So find your purpose, follow your passion, and the money will follow.
Exactly. When you're excited about what you're creating, that passion, it's contagious, it attracts the right people, it keeps you going when things get tough, and ultimately it leads to success, both financially and, personally.
I love that message. It's about aligning your head and your heart, your purpose and your profits. And when those things are in sync, that's when the magic happens.
You got it. That's what I want every website owner out there to remember. Focus on creating something meaningful, connect with your audience, build a community around that shared passion, and the money will follow.
That's such a powerful message. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom and insights with us today. This has been an amazing deep dive.
My pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has, sparked your creativity, ignited your passion, and given you the tools to create something truly amazing online. The world needs your unique voice, your brilliant ideas. Go out there and make your mark.
I'm definitely feeling fired up and ready to do just that.
Right.
But before we get carried away, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back soon with part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore even more strategies for turning your website into a thriving online hub. Okay, we're back, ready for the grand finale, part 3 of our deep dive into the world of, making money online. I gotta say, I'm feeling super inspired after our last chat, eager to hear what other nuggets of wisdom you've got for us.
Uh-huh. Well, we've covered a lot, but there's one more area I wanted to touch on before we wrap things up. Something that can really, take your website to the next level, open up a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay, now you've got me really curious. What's the secret weapon? The key to unlocking ultimate website success?
It's not really a secret, but it does often get overlooked. Partnerships.
Partnerships. Interesting. Okay, I get the power of collaboration, but how do you even find the right partners, for your website? It's not like you can just walk up to any random website owner and be like, hey, want to team up?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's definitely not quite that simple, but it's also not as intimidating as it might seem. Start by, thinking about people whose work you admire, individuals or businesses that share a similar audience to yours.
So look for people who are already killing it in your space.
Exactly. People who are already doing great things. And then reach out, introduce yourself, tell them you admire their work, and see if there's, any potential for working together. It doesn't have to be anything formal right away. Just start a conversation, see where it goes.
So it's all about those genuine connections, just like we talked about earlier. Find people you vibe with, reach out, see if there's that spark.
You got it. And those sparks can lead to some really cool stuff, guest blogging, cross-promotions on social media, even co-creating products or services.
Co-creation, now that's exciting. It's like brainstorming on a whole other level.
Yeah.
You're combining different perspectives, skills, experiences, and the results, they can be amazing.
Totally. It's incredible what can happen when you get those creative minds together. Plus, partnerships can really help you reach more people, expose your website to a wider audience.
Right, because you're tapping into your partner's existing network, their audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having a built-in marketing team.
Exactly. And the cool thing is partnerships can be as simple or as complex as you want them to be.
So it could be something like, I don't know, swapping guest blog posts.
Yeah.
Or something more involved, like creating an online course together.
Exactly. The key is finding partners who share your vision, your values. People who are genuinely excited about working with you to create something special, something that benefits everyone involved, especially your audience.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful partnerships can be. But let's be honest, not every partnership is a perfect match. How do you know if a potential collaboration is, actually a good fit?
That's a great question. And yeah, it's super important to be picky about who you partner with. Before you jump into anything, ask yourself a few things, right? Do their values align with yours? Do they have a similar audience? Do you actually enjoy their work, respect their expertise? And maybe most importantly, do you feel good about working with them? On a personal level, if the answer to any of those is no, maybe it's best to keep looking.
Makes sense. It's not just about, reaching more people. It's about finding someone you actually enjoy working with, someone who shares your vision for creating something truly valuable.
You got it. Partnerships should be, mutually beneficial, and they should be fun. They should feel like a natural fit, not something forced or awkward.
Okay, I'm sold on the power of partnerships. But, one thing that keeps coming up for me throughout this whole deep dive is the sheer amount of information out there about, making money online. It's a lot. How do you stay up to date without getting totally overwhelmed by all the advice and opinions?
I hear you. The online world moves fast, right? It can feel like you're always trying to catch up. But the truth is, you don't need to know everything. You don't have to be an expert in like every single aspect of website monetization.
So you're saying it's okay to not know everything.
Totally. Focus on the strategies that work for you, that fit your goals, that you're comfortable with. Don't force yourself to learn something that doesn't interest you or that feels, completely overwhelming.
That's a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to be a master chef just because I like to bake cookies every now and then.
Uh-huh. Exactly. It's about finding your own path, focusing on what brings you joy and success.
Okay, I'm feeling much more relaxed now. But speaking of finding your path, one of the sources mentioned website flipping as a potential way to make money online. It sounds a little bit like the Wild West of the internet, but also super intriguing. Is it really possible to buy and sell websites like, I don't know, like real estate?
Yeah, you're not wrong about the Wild West comparison. Website flipping can be a bit risky, but it can also be incredibly profitable. If you know what you're doing. It's basically buying or building a website that has the potential to grow, optimizing it for traffic and revenue, and then selling it for a profit.
So it's like flipping houses, but online.
Exactly. You're buying something with the potential to increase in value, putting in the work to make it better, and then selling it for more than you paid for it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But also kind of scary. How do you even know if a website's a good investment?
That's the million-dollar question. There's a lot to consider. Traffic, revenue, niche, domain authority, backlinks, the whole user experience. It's not something to jump into lightly. You got to do your research.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
Nope. But for those who are willing to put in the time, learn the ropes, it can be a really rewarding and potentially lucrative way to make money online.
Okay. Website flipping is officially going on my to-do list. But, one thing that's been on my mind this whole time is the ethical side of all this. It's easy to get caught up in the money-making aspect and forget about, doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Ethics are crucial no matter what kind of business you're running, and the online world is no different.
So how do you stay true to your values while also, trying to build a successful website?
Transparency and authenticity, those are key. Be upfront with your audience about how you're making money. Don't try to trick them into clicking ads or buying stuff they don't need. And if you're working with brands, make sure they're brands you actually believe in, brands that align with your values.
So it's about being honest, being real with your audience.
Exactly. Treat them with respect, and they'll give you their loyalty and trust in return.
That makes sense. But even with the best intentions, it's so easy to get caught up in the competition online. How do you avoid comparing yourself to everyone else? All those other websites out there.
Comparison, it really is the thief of joy. It's so easy to get sucked into that trap, comparing your website, your traffic, your earnings, your followers to everyone else's, especially on social media.
Oh yeah, social media can be a breeding ground for comparison.
For sure. But remember, everyone's on their own journey. What works for one person might not work for another, and what looks like success on the outside, well, you never know the whole story.
So focus on your own thing. Run your own race.
Exactly. Celebrate your own wins, learn from your own mistakes, and don't let the noise of the online world distract you from your goals.
All right, I'm muting the noise and focusing on my own lane. But, something that's been reinforced throughout this whole conversation is that building a successful website, it takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. How do you stay motivated and keep pushing forward when things get tough, when you hit those inevitable roadblocks?
It really comes back to passion. If you're genuinely passionate about what you're doing, that passion will carry you through those tough times. It'll be the fuel that keeps you going. Think about why you started your website in the first place. What impact do you want to make? What difference do you want to make in your own life?
It's about connecting to that deeper purpose, that bigger picture.
You got it. And when you're driven by purpose, those setbacks, those challenges, they become opportunities to learn and grow, not reasons to give up.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired.
Yeah.
But let's be real, even with passion and purpose, there's no guarantee of success, right?
True, there are no guarantees in life, especially in the online world. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. In fact, I think the journey itself is the reward.
So it's not just about the destination, it's about the lessons learned, the experiences along the way.
Exactly. Even if you don't reach that, that exact level of success you were hoping for, the skills you pick up, the connections you make, the lessons you learn, those are invaluable.
I'm really starting to get it. It's not about chasing the money. It's about creating something meaningful, connecting with people, making a positive impact.
You got it. And that's what I hope every website owner out there takes away from this conversation. Focus on what truly matters, and the rest will fall into place.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm honestly feeling so inspired and motivated to get out there and make things happen.
That's awesome to hear. And remember, this is just the beginning. The world of website monetization, it's vast and always changing, but with the right mindset, the right strategies, and a whole lot of heart, you can achieve amazing things.
I'm definitely feeling ready to take on the world. Thank you so
Wow.
much for sharing your time and expertise with us today. This has been truly enlightening.
My pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, remember, the world needs your unique voice, your creativity, your ideas. Go out there and make something amazing.
And that wraps up this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic and, of course, a mountain of information to explore. Till then, keep learning, keep creating, and keep those websites thriving.